Hey, what is up guys, GuitarRock here, welcome back to another Brown Dust 2 video. Alright, so I figure I'll do this every single patch when there's new characters added in the Powder of Hope shop, so that we can talk a little bit more about this meta-wise, because there's always new players, alright, coming in to Brown Dust 2, which, you know, if you guys are new, welcome to the game. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Right now is going to be one of the best time to start playing the game, Senran Kagura collab going on. Now, I also want to quickly mention, if you guys are not aware, right now we also have the free Diana. Diana right here, you can obtain her for free. This costume, literally, you just gotta do all of these tasks. You gotta log in every single day for 7 days, right? So that's going to be something that's doable. Very, very easy to do. Hopefully you guys are getting her. So she's a very strong character. One of the few characters that can basically buff crit rate, right? So there's only a few supporters in this game that can buff crit rate, and she's gonna be one of them. Besides Arines, Helena, and also Elpis. So those are going to be the very few characters that do so. So this is going to be very, very important, and she's a very meta supporter at that as well. Make sure you guys get this extra copy. Or if you already have her at +5, it will convert to 300 golden thread, pretty much just like every other costume. But still, she's a very, very good one. Now let's talk about a few other things right here as well. I want to talk about this particular pass. Now, is this worth it? I usually buy this because I'm a whale, freaking whale, right? But ideally for $26, you are getting quite a lot of value here. If you're just looking at the amount of total pulls and the ticket, this is actually kind of a decent value. Ideally, you know, for a lot of, you know, medium to low spenders, you still want to prioritize in the monthly pass. That's going to be the priority for most people. Again, this one, always buy this. You can always get this using the free 1000 gems. You want to always get the premium section. Alright, now let's jump into it. Let's look at the shop and talk about the... again, we are at the month of October, so this thing resets as well. So make sure you guys are picking the characters they are looking to basically power up, right? So it's going to be something that's... I wouldn't like... I've been playing this game for a while, right? I've been playing Brown Dust 2 for a while. I think one of the things that hurts the most is getting more dupes from the Powder of Hope. I mean, from the pulls, because all it does is it converts to 300 golden threads, alright? Pulling for the Senran Kagura characters makes me realize that maybe you shouldn't +5 the character. Maybe you should just leave them at +4, so that in the future you have some room to spook them, right? Unless they are like really, really broken, really, really meta. Now in that case, you want to always get this, the Tear of Goddess. This one you can always get 3 per month, right? Very, very cool. So let me just get all of these first before I forget, right? The Essence of Life, the Essence of Water, the Essence of Perseverance, boom. Too bad the other one you have to use the Powder of Hope. Okay, so Powder of Hope. So notice this particular season, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters. That is a lot. Alright, 5 characters is a lot. So, which one is going to be the best character out of this bunch? A lot of players have come to ask me, GuitarRock, is ZENITH worth it? How strong is ZENITH right now? ZENITH is a very, very strong character. Alright, don't just take my word for it. Let me show you. Alright, if you look at the popular costume, she's the top costume in PvP right now. Alright, in offense, in defense, you can see. Alright, let's look at the other rankings, right? This is in Grandmaster. Let's look at Challenger. ZENITH is number 1 on offense. ZENITH is number 1 on defense. Let's look at Champion. ZENITH is number 1 on offense and on defense. But if you look at Master, also ZENITH is... okay, on defense, maybe not so much right here. But always ZENITH, a lot of players use ZENITH in PvP. Now, let's dive into why. Why is ZENITH being used often in PvP? Because she's one of the few characters in the game that has 0 SP cost. Now, ZENITH is a very unique character, and she only basically hits 1 tile, alright, 1 character. But she's a 0 SP character if you +3 her. Alright, so if you +1 her, it does nothing. +2 does nothing. +3 reduces her to 1 SP. And then if you potentially liberate her, boom, she becomes a 0 SP character. So you don't consume any SP at all. In PvP, that is extremely valuable, because when you are attacking, you only get 5 SP starting, and when you're defending, you only get 6 SP. So that means she's going to be very valuable in a lot of situations. And also, she's one of the few characters that can apply up to 100% amplification, right? Incoming damage increase. That's very unique. It fits both the physical and the magic side of things. Now the only downside of her, the only downside of using Zenith, sometimes you might experience this, is her concentrated fire. Because some costumes you ideally do want, like for example, right? There are some characters that can hit in a big AoE without her applying focus fire on the enemy, so it does sometimes interfere with that, right? Because she's a skip character, she forces all the allies to focus fire on, or to concentrate fire on the character or on the tile that's a skip tile. So therefore that can maybe interfere with certain things in some occasions, but still she's a very, very strong character. You need to get at least one copy of her if you haven't already, and of course +3 is going to be her best stopping point. Ideally, no questions asked right there, right? So definitely get her by far. Now as for the other characters right here, right? Who do I think is the priority? Definitely Zenith, because she's the only character right here that's like much more of a debuffer support character. The rest here are going to be DPS character. Now Livia, alright, Knight of Jealousy Livia is going to be a DPS fire magic character. She's going to be one of the strongest DPS fire character, perhaps competing with Loen right now, if you're talking about magic for fire, right? However, alright, if you are new to the game, alright, you don't want to prioritize on having too many of one element. So you want to try to split up, try to get all the elements first, or preferably, let's say if you already have a build Latrice, which is a physical fire, right? But you don't need to worry too much about getting a magical fire for the timing. Focus on your other elements first. Alright, you want to try to get all the elements settled before you focus on one particular element and try to split on into both direction of physical and magical. That's my advice generally, right? At least that's how I approach the game early on. It makes it easier for you to be able to tackle. The reason why is because every single season, the Fiend Hunter, alright, whenever you go in Brown Dust 2, this is pretty much like the rotation, the raid boss of the end game, right? And this rotates around according to the season of the elements. So the next current one, we're gonna be fighting the True Orochi Water right here. So it's a very, very cool, interesting one, right? Now this boss is going to be a water type, right? Look at this, alright, so therefore wind type is going to have the elemental advantage, alright? That's just how it works. So that's going to be pretty much the approach that you want to try to go in with. So Livia is a very, very strong character, like I mentioned. If you already have, however, if you already have Latrice, if you already have, let's say, Loen, you might not need her as much, but still, I think she's probably one of the strongest fire type character right now. I feel like out of all of this bunch, if you're looking for a DPS character, it depends on which element you're lacking, right? So Eclipse is going to be a very strong dark type magic DPS. In fact, she's probably the strongest dark type DPS character right now. Alright, some players might argue that it's going to be Iliania. She is physical, but I feel like Eclipse has way more versatility, especially if you have the Bunny Eclipse costume. And by the way, that's going to probably have a rerun later this year, so pay attention to that. Probably you want to get one copy of this so that you can complement the other costumes as well. This one is very, very cool. It does a lot of damage, probably one of the highest multiplier, especially if you can +5 this, which I do have off. You can see, right, I have her at +5. That's why she's there, because she's really, really strong. I think she's worth it. She's been carrying me in Tower of Salvation. I can definitely vouch for her. Now for Livia, I don't really +5 her because, like I mentioned, I got Loen and a few others as well, so I don't really in particular pay too much attention for her. Now for Michaela, I think she's also really strong, right? I don't think she's as strong as Eclipse. Maybe she's comparable, right? She's a very complicated character. Why is she complicated, right? It's because I think it depend on who do you have, because for me, I have Angelica. Angelica is going to be like my best light magic damage dealer. I don't really need Michaela as much, but I do think that costume is very, very good. It feels like a complete costume because you can basically spam her skills every round. Now, let's see, where is she? Michaela is going to be... shoot. Why is it so hard to find her? Sometimes you just can't find the character. So you can see right here, right? If you look at the costume, right? So even at plus 2 right now, right? Her cooldown time is 1 turn. That means you can pretty much spam her skills every single turn. Even though she only has one costume, it feels like she's designed in a way that she's a perfect character without needing any additional costumes. She's not going to need any other skills. This skill is going to be more than enough. She's going to be a damage dealer that can basically... this first half of the skill is a bit weird. She sacrificed her own HP to do attack, but still, her multiplier is really, really high. She's probably one of the strongest one. If you go up all the way, 320%, insane. If you can push this even further, it's going to go to 400%, and look at this range, right? Again, very, very insane. Alright, so her target is Vault, which is skip as well. So I feel like if you're looking for a straight line magic DPS attacker, she is going to be very, very strong. Now, if you don't have Yuri, you don't have Antana, you don't have Angelica, Michaela is a very strong DPS character. Definitely, I can vouch for her, right? I've used her in Tower of Salvation before. She is also really, really strong right there. Now, if you're a new player, how good is she, right? Because the truth is, I feel like at lower multipliers, you want to get her up to at least +1. That's where like the minimum to get her up to 4 SP to make her much more usable. Now, complementing her with, you know, the B rank Idol Helena and stuff, she's probably going to be able to carry you. I still feel like if you are new, I would go the Livia route, right? If I have to priority between these 3 DPS, let me see if I can make a list for you guys, right? So I know like it's hard for me to say, oh, this is better or that's better, but here's how I will prioritize it. I will bring out a notepad so that it's easier for us to talk about this. In my opinion, I will prioritize Eclipse if you have the Bunny version. Okay, if you don't have the Bunny version, Eclipse is your number 1. Followed by Livia. Followed by Michaela. Now, why do I place Livia second? Alright, there's a reason why I place Livia second. Now, I'm always going to place this priority if Eclipse you have the Bunny version. If you don't have the Bunny version, Livia is number 1 by far. Alright, Livia now should be number 1 if you don't have the Eclipse. And then I'm gonna say Michaela second actually. And then third is going to be Eclipse. Now, why is this, right? Why am I placing the from Eclipse number 1 to Eclipse number 3? Why this makes so much difference? Because again, something that you guys need to be aware of. Eclipse right here. Let me see if I can find her. So why she needs a Bunny version is because if you look at this particular variant, her cooldown time is 11 turns. Alright, if you only got this costume, I wouldn't say it's useless, but it's just you can't do anything for a long time. Alright, you gotta wait for a long time for this to be on cooldown. That means this costume is not meant to be a costume that's used every single turn. Now, for a new player, this is going to be bad. So if you have other costumes to complement that, you can basically cycle around back to this costume after you use this, right? And plus, this costume do have the big tile range. Now, this is probably one of the highest multiplier for a costume. That's why they are trying to like nerf it or try to like make it not too broken by giving her absurd cooldown so that you cannot spam this costume. So therefore I'm going to place her last in that particular regards, right? If you only have this particular costume, it might not be as good or might not be as effective. Now, Livia, why do I place her number 1? Is because of other Livia complementing costume, which is this particular variant right here. Livia is... this costume is just the most flexible costume. I've never not used this particular costume in any Fiend Hunter at all. Now, why is it so good, right? This costume gives you amplification for magic damage. You can see here, right? For 4 turns, the target's incoming magic damage increased by 80%. Alright? This is one of the few characters that can basically amplify magic damage. Wait, she's the only character that can amplify magic damage right now. Physical, there's 2, which is Rafina and the collect character Ares, right? But you can see it goes all the way up to 100% for this particular one. Again, very, very cool character. I do recommend Livia because this is going to be a costume that you're gonna use every single Fiend Hunter or every single Fiend bosses. Therefore, it makes sense for you to power up this particular costume, because during this costume's downtime, alright, you can see this one is going to be 5 turns. Right, during this costume's downtime, you will be using this other costume, right? Hopefully that makes sense. In a fire or in a wind elemental boss where it's weak against fire, you might not use this as much, I get it, if you have low end and stuff, but because of the complementing costume, which is this costume, it makes a lot of sense. Now, some of you might be arguing, oh, what is GuitarRock, but what if I don't have this costume? Don't worry, you'll get her in the future, alright? This is something that, once you get her, I doubt she's gonna leave your party. You can ask any other veteran players, this costume is insane. Every single Fiend Hunter, I've never not used her at all. Alright, especially if you're trying to run a magic team, she carries you everywhere. Alright, even in Tower of Salvation, you use her a lot. So, hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully my explanation makes sense. I think like it's important to explain these kind of things. I know some of you guys might be annoyed. Oh my god, this guy makes like a 20-minute videos. But I think this is very important, right? Because if I don't explain things like this, I just tell, oh, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. Like, you as a player will be like, what? Why? Right? I'm sure the why is going to be why you are watching this video. Alright, why you are still watching until now. And if that's the case, make sure you guys like the video, alright? Like the video is very important. And also, you know, make sure you guys are subscribed as well. I'm almost done. But the pretty much the there's a reason why I'm ranking them this way, right? This is going to be very, very important, and I hope that you guys can see from this point of view as well. Alright, so with that, Michaela, again, very, very decent light. Do not neglect her. Okay, the last one is going to be Rubia. Rubia, you don't need her as much because she doesn't provide much outside of just buffing the character. So you can see, right, Rubia right here, this is the Empress Queen Rubia. She's good for stacking chain, number 1. She's also good for reducing defense. That's basically her purpose. That particular costume doesn't really do much damage. In fact, the other 2 costumes does way more damage. Alright, that's the other 2 costumes that we want to focus on. So that particular Rubia costume is going to be good at +0, pretty much. Maybe at plus whatever that gives her the SP reduction. Let me see if I can find her. Again, she's right here. Boom. Costume, this one, Empress Queen Rubia. You can see right here, she attacked the enemy 6 times. 6 times is very good to stack chain in the last night bosses and stuff, and also decrease the enemy defense by 25%. So this range is also going to be pretty insane. Again, right, if you at +0, she's 5 SP. If you can go to +3, she becomes 4 SP. But to be honest, you don't really need it. I'll be honest with you guys, you don't really need it. The most important thing for her is not going to be the plus, maybe up to +3, but +4 and +5 you definitely will not need it, because all she does is she does more damage. But this costume is just, the damage is just measly or negligible, right? The important thing is going to be on her potential liberation, because it changes her completely from decreasing the enemy's defense by 25% to decreasing the enemy's defense by 45%. So you want to like focus on potential liberating her, which is going to make sense. This one 10% here, and then I believe this one 10% here. This one is just more damage. So yeah, I did use her in the the recent Fiend Hunter bosses where she can be used right there. Other than that, she's pretty cool, but just get 1 copy if you want to, but she's not going to be a costume that you're going to need multiple copies of, or no rush to +5, right? So yeah, that's going to be pretty much it. Make sure you guys prioritize in Zenith though. I think Zenith is going to be the one that I recommend everybody getting, because she's a very cool 0 SP character. One of the few characters in the game that has 0 SP. Alright, so this is going to conclude the Powder of Hope for the current season. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you guys are understanding what characters are meta and what characters are not. Hopefully this can make you decide or make a better decision as well. So with that being said, I'm gonna end the video now. Subscribe, give this video a like. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day. Goodbye.